my shirt. It's my favorite way. But every time I go back and watch it, you can always catch something new, and that's what I love about it. And my question for you, because it's never really described in the movie, you seem to know Vincent Vega and Jules by the time that you go into the car and the scene, and it's never really said how. Like, what's your theory to how you know?
Well, it's funny because Quentin and I discussed this, the backstory, like, well, what's the idea behind Marvin opening the door? And what we pieced together is, he doesn't know Vincent, he knows Jules. Jules knows somebody who knows Marvin, and they make a connection. Hey, get your boy to be, at the door at 7:45, we're gonna open. Now, it's not clear whether Marvin and Jules had ever seen each other, but they have something, some person, or some background in common, and that's the connection. Because when they're in the trunk, they say, "How many of them, including our guy?" So they know that there's a guy in there who's basically deciding to betray his friends.
Hello, I'll try to keep this as short as possible. So my name is Brady. I'm also another actor, and of course I'm soon to be going to voice acting. So I do have 2 questions. So one, what is your advice for me stepping into voice acting? And 2, what is your favorite quote from Kotal Khan and Mortal Kombat 10 and 11?
Well, the first question I can answer. The second one, sadly, I don't have favorite quotes for video games because they don't give you the script until you get there, and then it's basically just they're scrolling through these 900 lines on a screen. just say it 3 times. Move on, move on, move on. So unfortunately, you don't get to memorize the script or get really. I don't even know what the scenes are for the lines. It's like, well, the guys in programming will figure out where these lines go later. We're not going to tell you. But in terms of getting into voice acting, the main advice I would give you is know that voice acting is a misnomer because the acting comes first, the voice comes second. And I learned this actually on the job, doing Samurai Jack with Mako Iwamatsu, who played Aku. Mako had a very distinctive voice, yes? And then one time they did an episode where Mako was playing another character. I'm like, what? He's got that voice. If you make another character, it's gonna sound just like Aku. But Mako acted the other character. He didn't change his voice, but he played the character differently so that when you watch that episode, you can't tell it's him. And that's when I realized, oh, it's not same way that acting isn't just about makeup and wigs. It's about what you bring to the character, how you perform it. Same thing with voicing. Like you can do the funny voice, but it's what you bring to the character and what you emote that matters more.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you for making my childhood awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, good enough. This sort of got answered before, but I'll ask it again anyway. Feel free to make it quick. What did you think of your time on voicing in the Clone Wars?
Oh, it was amazing. Because it was a great group of people, James Arnold Taylor, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lanter, and, Deep, and I got to be part of Star Wars. I got to be a Jedi. It was a joy. And Dave Filoni is a genius. I mean, it's one thing to create a world like that, but then to bring it back to life, after the prequel.
Thank you. Also, I completely forgot you voiced Supervolt and Harvey Birdman, so that was a pleasant reminder.
Well, Supervolt's what I want to call it. Aquaman called it Black Vulcan. Well, why we call you Whitefish? Hello.
Hi. I literally only realized a moment ago that I'm the last one up here. No pressure. I didn't even know if I was going to get up here, but just listening to you talk has been an absolute pleasure because you have that iconic voice and you've played so many roles. And I'm listening to you, I was reminded of, I listened to a podcast with Taliesin Jaffe being interviewed, and he talked about like how he's gotten opportunities to play things in voiceover he would never get to play in live action because, you know, typecasting. And like I also listened to him like go on about how excited he is that he's played the Flash because he's such a fanboy. And so I'm curious, like, what is your either like dream impossible role that you haven't played yet that you would absolutely love to, like that would be your highlight of your career? Or if it's already happened, what is your one role where when you stop and think, I played that, you kind of have an existential crisis?
Well, see, that's an interesting question. You say, what is your favorite? I don't have a dream because to me, it's not just about the role. Like, if I see a drawing of Superman, I don't know what the role is. You don't know what the role is until you read the script, know who's producing it, know what the tone is. You know, it's funny, because when they announced the Static Shock movie, there are all these dudes online saying, cast me! Like, dude, until they have a script, they can't know who to cast. You don't get cast just because you got the hair length. But in terms of favorite roles, like I said, I've been so fortunate to work with these wonderful creators, and honestly, when Matt Groening or Dave Filoni calls with something, I'm like, yes! I don't care what it is. But my favorite role, I've figured out over the years, is the next one. Because that means I'm still working. And I can pay my mortgage.
I think you're speaking on behalf of all us when I say that we are really grateful you're here. Thank you.
No, thank you guys. I'm so flattered and honored for you guys to come in here and listen to this. It's been a joy to share these characters with you guys. And to be honest, without you guys, without your eyeballs, without you watching, this work means nothing. Because, as an actor, what you do, if you just act without an audience, you're spasming. So the audience finishes the performance. It makes it a circuit. So thank you.
I want to thank you all for being here.
Thank you for helping me to complete my mission.
No, thank you guys for giving me a shot to my system.
Incredible range of voices. And my question is, I remember first playing Justice years back, and you voiced both Green Lantern and Aquaman in it. My question is, were there any like vocal differences or personalities that you had to make sound a bit different compared to each character?
Well, yes. Because I started out just voicing Aquaman in Injustice. And I was basically using the same version of Aquaman that I had done in Young Justice. I'm Aquaman, the king of Atlantis. And he was the first cool Aquaman. To me, without Greg Weisman, the creator of Young Justice, without his version of Aquaman, Jason Momoa's never would have happened. And so I'm voicing Aquaman, and then after the game came out, they called and said, hey, we need you to come back. Because they had Jon Stewart as a DLC. And they said, we want the Jon Stewart from Justice League.
Well, I can definitely do that.
Also, I just want to close out saying, you're awesome you absolutely nailed it as Samurai Jack, and I remember seeing it years back, and I still watch it to this day, and you are amazing at it.
No, thank you very much for your support.
Hi.
Oh yeah, is the microphone high enough? Is that okay?
It's at a good height. I'm just a little short. I'm not as tall as Will, unfortunately. But even though I'm wearing a Wilt costume, I wanted to kind of reference Static Shock. A few years ago, I actually wrote a thesis on the importance of diversity in cartoons, and that was a really big one for me as a child. And it was basically the backbone of the thesis paper. And I just kind of wanted to ask what it was like being the main character in a show that was kind of putting a young black character at the forefront as opposed to being like the side character or, you know, the funny best friend or just, you know, kind of filtering around the periphery and really, like you were saying, just making it like an everyday show that's dealing with everyday topics. So.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because there's a lot of things that people are looking back on through the vision of 2022. It's like, well, you know, and talking about diversity and representation. Because back in the late 90s, early 2000s, those weren't buzzwords. Those weren't anybody's priorities, really, except for the NAACP. But the people producing, you know, content, that wasn't anybody's focus. But even back then, we understood the importance of Static. It's like, okay, this is the first African-American teenage superhero with his own show, you know? And we understood that. And I think part of that was because Dennis Cowan and, you know, was a producer on Static, and it had come from Milestone, which was also, you know, conscious of the you know, power of representation and the need for it. And that's why, you know, to this day, you know, Dwayne McDuffie embodies that. We have the thing yearly, we do the Dwayne McDuffie Awards for Diversity in Comics. And to me, that's rooted in the work that we were doing with Static. But the goal wasn't, you know, its societal impact. The goal was quality. And to me, that is the main benefit of diversity and representation. Because the wider the pool of concepts, characters, and ideas, the greater the quality. You know, think about it. If you were just doing, well, Shakespeare's the best writer. We're just going to do Hamlet for 900 years. Now do a Hamlet cartoon and a Hamlet video game and nothing else. No. You want different perspectives. You want different ideas and different characters. That makes it fun for us as an audience.
Thank you so much.
And sorry, I can't do quick answers.
No, I appreciate it.
That's why I need writers. I was part of the Pee Wee Herman show, which was a reboot of the original stage show that they did in like 1981. It used to be like a midnight show done on the Sunset Strip at the Roxy, you know, and like everybody in Hollywood was trying to get those tickets. And that's part of what made Pee Wee such a big character. And then he got the movies, and then after the movies, he got the Saturday morning kids show. And for the kids show, he created this world. He created Puppetland and all of these other characters, and introduced Cowboy Curtis, things that hadn't been in the stage show. So now, 30 years later, it's like, well, let me redo the stage show with all those things I created for the TV show. And one of the original characters in the stage show was Captain Carl, who was in love with the most beautiful woman in Puppetland, played by Lynn Stewart. But of course, Captain Carl had been played by Phil Hartman, who was no longer with us. And Paul Rubens didn't want somebody to play Captain Carl. It's like, you can't, nobody can fill Phil Hartman's shoes. So what he did is he took the Cowboy Curtis character from the TV show and had him do what Captain Carl did in the original show. So, Cowboy Curtis was in love with the most beautiful woman in public. I like it. And so I got to do the, you know, play that part, because apparently Lawrence Fishburne was busy. And it was amazing because not only did I get to work with a genius like Paul Rubens, I mean, Pee Wee Herman is basically the human version of Mickey Mouse. It's this character that is so deeply embedded in our culture, everybody loves it. And he's just amazing. And that actually allowed me to make my Broadway debut. You know, because we took the show from LA to Broadway at the Stephen Sondheim Theater.
Incredible to be able to perform on Broadway. And then my last question before we go to our audience questions is, you've been in so many projects, met so many people, and now on the convention scene, has there been a time either on set, in a studio, at a convention, either next to you at a green room, where you saw somebody, you saw another actor, another celebrity, and you just kind of fanboyed out. Either you couldn't speak, or you spoke too much?
Well, actually, I'm a big nerd. Always have been. But I'm a big comic book guy. So one of the main reasons I started coming to Comic-Cons was because they had comic book legends. So whenever, I go to a Comic-Con, I'm always bringing my sketchbook. And I've gotten to meet, some of the artists and writers who were absolutely foundational to my imagination. One time at San Diego Comic-Con, I got to meet Garth Ennis. And as a dummy, I'm like, oh my gosh, even though I know you're a writer, will you do something in my sketchbook? And he drew something. I got a writer to draw. But, anytime. I remember one time we were at a convention and Frank Miller was in the green room. I was like, Frank Miller. And then, I'm trying to figure out, what do I say? But then, as I start to head toward it, Joe Manganiello from True Blood, he's also fanboying. And he beats me to Frank Miller, like, oh, damn it! But eventually, I waiting for Joe to finish, and then I go, hey, Mr. Miller. It's like, and then I had the most amazing feel, because Frank Miller goes, oh, I'm a Family Guy fan. One of the people who built my imaginations like something that I'm part of? You gotta love that.
That's all. I don't think there's a better feeling. I don't think there's a better feeling. Hello! What's your name?
Hello. Hi.
You have a spot there.
First one, set the tone. So I'm sure there's not too much you can say about this, but as someone super stoked about the future on the reboot, are you excited to come back? Woo!
Oh, yes. Yeah. We're up and running now, and it's so amazing. The new scripts are great. And although the funny thing about it is, it's our 4th time coming back from the dead. We're like the zombie with a helmet on. You keep knocking us down, but we ain't stop getting up. But yes, and that group, that cast, and writers, it feels like family. We've been together for 20 years plus. So being able to come back to that is wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm just gonna speak really loud because I'm Project! I really love your time doing the Static Shock, and I want to know, do you have a favorite episode from Static, or is there an episode that really stuck out to you that you performed that may be related to from your childhood or growing up or anything like that?
Oh man, that's a tough one because there are so many really good episodes of Static Shock. Just in terms of the writing, the gun episode, the episode where he's dealing with Richie's father. The fact that we were doing that in a Saturday morning cartoon. What, to me, the best thing about the writing on that show is there were those topics that were, powerful like that, but it wasn't a very special episode. It wasn't like that episode of Different Strokes. It was just, it was like life. Sometimes you go through a day and everything's just normal. Sometimes you go through a day and something weird happens. And that's how it felt for Virgil, Although there are certain special moments from the performance standpoint, like being able to do an episode where Virgil knocks out the Joker and I'm doing it next to Mark Hamill. You know, that sits with you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes also, especially at the end when you just like handshake, help.
Right.
Oh, nice try. Let me try.
Right. Although, I mean, the crossover, the JL SAG crossovers, initially were a little unnerving because I was just starting out in my voiceover career, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait, I'm playing two characters talking to each other? I'm not Billy West. I don't know if I can do this, you know? But it was a challenge, like, okay, I gotta reach that bar. You know, Static, you're gonna be quite an asset when you join the league. Wait, did you say when I joined the league? So, you know, now I can do it.
Hello. Hi, my name's Emmett. If you could voice any comic book character, who would it be?
All of them. No, but actually the funny thing about that is being in the, you know, voiceover community, you see such amazingly talented, I mean, there are obviously, as a, you know, comic book nerd, there's characters that I love, you know, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Batman, you know, but I've been in rooms with people who embody those characters, you know, and I'm like, I can't do it better than Steve Bloom, you know, and I mean, so, sorry, my favorite superhero is Batman. And for years, I've, you know, said in interviews, like, you know, I mean, as a kid, the one character I might want to play was Batman, but once, you know, I got into the business, I'm like, no, there's nobody who can play Batman other than the man we lost the other day, Kevin Conroy. So, I mean, it's funny because years ago I met a fellow who voices Batman in the Spanish dubs, and he does Batman in the animated and live action versions. And I remember thinking, they should do that in America. Kevin should voice all these movies. But now, that's not a possibility. Because, you know, and it hurts on one level, the loss, but on another level, it forces us to celebrate the amazing talent and power and kindness that he embodied. I mean, he brought that character, he made that character cool again, you know? I mean, I like Adam West and all, but Kevin is Batman. Well, I mean, unfortunately, as an actor, seeking out a role isn't really a thing, because you can't go up to, you know, knock on a production office like, hey, let me play that. That's not
With respect, you are Phil Lamarr.
But, no, the good thing is, having been part of the world of Star Wars, and starting out, I mean, I was 10 when the first movie, you know, came out. I remember sitting there in a drive-in with my mom watching it going, oh, I've never seen a movie like this before. So, as an adult, being able to be a part of that world was a dream come true, you know? And voicing Bail Organa to take over for Jimmy Smits in the animated show, and then having the chance to be Kid Fisto, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a Jedi! You know? And thankfully, being able to work with Dave Filoni and Jean Favreau and these guys, you know, they, will come every once in a while and like, hey, we have another part for you. Like, and it's every single time, it's a wonder and a joy. Although they're so secret, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I remember going to the Disney lot, and after the first year of the pandemic, and okay, you're working on something, okay, and they wouldn't send me, don't send you the script. And I walk in thinking, okay, I guess maybe it's Star Wars Rebels. But then the Zoom screen comes up, and there's Robert Rodriguez. I'm like, oh, this isn't a cartoon. And that's, I wound up doing a couple of voices of some bad guys in the Book of Boba Fett, which was so much fun. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. Oh man, I gotta find one of those hoodies. You guys see this Planet Express hoodie he's got? That should be a crew jacket!
Well, that's it. Thank you. You mentioned earlier Futurama's coming back. That's awesome. And that it's been canceled 4 times. That sucks. But in animation, things don't have to stay gone forever.
Right.
Is there anything of yours that is, other than Futurama, that's about to come back? And if you can't tell me, can you tell us what you would like to come back that's not in circulation now?
Well, weirdly, over the last 10, I guess maybe it's with the internet, but show business companies now act like they're the Pentagon. You can't say anything about this. It's like, really? In the old days, you wanted people to know about your shows. But, I don't know, the one that I would love, and it's actually supposedly going on, they're supposedly developing a live-action Static Shock movie. Michael B. Jordan is supposed to be producing it. And personally, just because I love that character, and I would love for it to be a movie, I don't know if I would be involved in it at all, but I'm definitely going to see it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. More Futurama clothing. I'm gonna open me up. I'll call it Cool Topic.
So speaking of Futurama, I asked John DiMaggio when he was in town a couple of years ago, if you could meet every single one of the characters you played, which do you think you would get along with best?
I know Johnson. Bad news. Because I got a shiny metal ass too. You're asking which character would I get along with? Ooh, dude. Probably Samurai Jack. Because he is the kindest, sweetest, most noble, and he's got a magical sword. Big news. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Lamarr. My name is Chaz. Thank you for being out here today. Hey, so I'm actually a fan of your work and have been since a project that predated Mad TV, and I brought it with me because I didn't think people would believe me that it existed. But there's a Sega CD game called CNC Music Factory's Power Factory. It's a video game about the classic group CNC Music Factory. You have to edit their music videos in order to get access into a club. Very 90s story. And it means a lot to me. I'm a radio DJ out here now, and this was my foray into becoming a music fan. So on a personal level, it impacted me. So I was wondering, what are your memories of working on CNC Music Factory's Power Factory?
Wow. Yeah, no, that's a deep cut. So deep, you can't even find nothing to play it on. It's like, oh yeah, no, I have my working Sega CD. No, I don't. No, that was the first video game I ever played, I ever worked on. And it was like 91 or something. And it was actually one of the few video games at the time that used actual actors. Because they were shooting, footage, but it was a weird concept. Because like, yeah, we're gonna take the footage you guys are in, and then the players will edit it into a music video. Like, what? Kids? Yeah, because kids love to edit video. At least that's what I was thinking at the time. Like, this is so dumb. But little did I know that, yes, this was the, beginning of